So, how to prompt ChatGPT. I wanted to create this tutorial. It is for absolute beginners. If you've never used ChatGPT or any AI in the past, that's fine. I'm going to show you everything that you need to know in order to prompt it effectively. I'm going to talk about what a prompt is and why you should not be daunted by terms like prompt engineering and all of that. It really is simple, I promise you. So let's jump right in. I'm going to talk about how to prompt, the three key elements for your first prompt. We're going to go through some examples. I'm going to tell you a couple of advanced tips, and then what you don't really need to be doing, because you might be seeing advice by others that is, I think, no longer relevant. And then finally, I'm going to share my secret sauce for AI whispering, how to really get the AI to collaborate and cooperate with you. So let's begin. First of all, what is a prompt? Let's look at ChatGPT. This is ChatGPT Plus. I'm using GPT-4. It's my favorite, but you can also use GPT 3.5 if you don't have a paid account. Just go to chatgpt.com or chat.openai.com. Same website. It's your interface for interacting with ChatGPT. And here at the bottom, this is where you prompt. It's essentially, this is your method of communicating with the AI, okay? The AI doesn't do anything unless you prompt it. You have to initiate the interaction. So I'm just going to go with hello ChatGPT. This is a prompt. This is all it is. I'm going to send a message. I just prompted the AI, the big ChatGPT, and it responded with hello, how can I assist you today? And now I can go on and give it another prompt, because it's a dialogue. It can have a back and forth. I'm going to talk more about that. So let's talk about the three main elements that you need to think about whenever you craft your prompt, and that is everything you need to know about prompting ChatGPT, I promise. The three elements are context, specifics, and style. Okay, if you got these three covered, you created an effective prompt that is much more likely to get you the kind of result that you're looking for. And so let's look at some examples. Okay, so I'm redesigning my personal website and need some inspiration. That's your context, right? This is telling the AI, telling the model why are we here? What's the overall? What's the bigger picture? What's the overall purpose of this conversation? And now I'm going to get into the specifics. Can you suggest a modern color palette that would be suitable for a web publisher's portfolio? Okay, I'm a web publisher. It's the kind of prompt that it's kind of project that I may need help with, and this is the specific. I'm asking for a color palette. I'm not telling it go ahead and design my whole website. Just give me ideas for a modern color palette. And now I'm going to talk about the style. I'm going to tell ChatGPT how I want my answer. So I want its answer. I want a short and concise answer. Don't start lecturing me about principles of design. And I also need you to include hex codes for each color. Hex codes, it's a technical term. It's something that a web designer can then take and use to actually use the right colors in the design. So let's take this prompt and see how ChatGPT responds. So I'm back with ChatGPT here, and I just copied the prompt from that slide into ChatGPT here, same wording exactly, and I'm going to hit the send button, and now I prompted ChatGPT, and ChatGPT responds just the way I wanted it to, right? There's no long novel about web design, but there is a short intro and then the list of colors that ChatGPT thinks would work well for a modern color palette, which, looking at it at a glance, I think it's a good kind of palette. And if I wanted to, I could go on and ask for other suggestions, but I only asked for a single suggestion. I wanted the hex code. I have them here, and this is great. This is just what I wanted. Let's look at a different example. So, context. I'm writing a short story for my niece's 4th birthday. Okay, so now we know who the audience is. We know basically what we're looking for here. And now I'm going to get into the specifics because I don't want to just say, write me a short story. That's too general. I'm going to say, could you help me craft a tale about a curious cat exploring a magical garden in Illinois? And then I want to talk about the style because I want the output to be in a very specific style. So I'm asking for the narrative to be whimsical and filled with rhymes. And let's see how ChatGPT handles this prompt. So back to ChatGPT again. This is my prompt. And ChatGPT goes right to work and writes us the story about whiskers in the whimsical garden in Illinois. And it looks like rhyming to me. So overall, I think I'm getting the kind of response that I needed. And we could have, asked for a different style. We could have asked for it to be shorter or longer. We didn't specify a length, right? And so I think this falls under the definition of a short story with rhymes, and hopefully it's a good one for a 4-year-old for her birthday party. Let's look at a different example. So with this prompt, I still follow the same principles of context, specifics, style, right? But this time I added slightly different context. I'm in a rush. That's telling ChatGPT, be short. I don't have time. I need help with some trivia detail. That's the context. For the specifics, please tell me what the capital of Nepal is. And then for the style, be very short and provide the answer in a single word. Okay, let's see how ChatGPT handles this prompt. So here we are, ChatGPT. Yep, Kathmandu, just one word. This is what we asked for, and it knows I'm in a hurry. It didn't include anything around that, and this is the answer I was looking for. So essentially, this is what you need to know about prompting ChatGPT. It really is this easy, I promise you. I want to cover a few more things that will help you get even better results. I want to talk about a few advanced tips and then some things that you don't need to be doing necessarily, even if somebody else told you you should be. And then I want to share my secret sauce that really gets ChatGPT to do what I need it to do. So I want to talk about open-ended prompts versus close-ended prompts, also known as directed prompts. Remember, the model responds to your prompt. It does not think by itself. You need to tell it what it is that you need. So in addition to having the context specific and style, you can choose to go with an open-ended prompt or a close-ended prompt. And I have some examples here. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. An open-ended prompt is tell me about the history of the Renaissance, whereas a close-ended prompt is going to be did the Renaissance begin in the 14th century in Italy. So close-ended prompts usually can be answered with a yes or a no, and you can expect ChatGPT to elaborate more than that unless you, in the style, you tell it, again, give it the context. I'm in a rush. I need the answer. Did the Renaissance begin in the 14th century in Italy? Provide a very short yes or no answer. It will give you that. But otherwise, if you don't direct it to be very, very brief, then it will likely explain a little bit more about what historians think about when the Renaissance began. But if you go with the open-ended one, you're going to get an essay about the Renaissance, the history of the Renaissance. And if that's what you're looking for, that's fine. Just know to direct the model to the kind of output that you need for your specific project. And then just a couple of other examples. Open-ended prompts. Why? What are your thoughts on renewable energy sources? Like very, very general. Versus is solar energy more efficient than wind energy? And that's going to give you a totally different kind of reply. Describe the complexities of human emotions. That will definitely send ChatGPT on a tangent. In my experience, it's a topic that's close to its heart. And then you can also ask, is happiness a primary or secondary emotion if you need this for a project, I don't know, in psychology or something. Moving on, breaking down complex tasks. So if you have a very broad kind of task, like help me create a marketing plan for my business, that's really a huge thing, right? So ChatGPT is actually a pretty decent business advisor. I use it for my business needs all the time. But if you have something that's this large in scope, you should break it down into components. Don't try to get the AI to have everything. It cannot produce a 200 long document in a single, based on a single prompt. So what I usually do is I use a top-down approach. So if I needed a marketing plan for my business, I would go and say, let's brainstorm. I'd give it the context. I need this marketing plan. If I need it for a specific need, like I need to submit it to something, I'll tell it as much. But then I go and I explain, help me brainstorm an outline for my business, for my marketing plan. And that would give me like a list of chapters to work with. And then I can go back and say, okay, now that we have our outline, if I'm happy with the outline, let's work on this section by section. What would you include in the first section? Let's work only in the first section, and then we can dive into the first section and see, maybe you want to break this down further and then work on each element separately as well. It's also an option. So don't go too broad. Too broad is usually less effective. And create a dialogue. Okay, this isn't a search engine. This isn't, a very primitive chatbot. This is an intelligent entity, okay? And it craves dialogue. It's a chatbot. That's why they called ChatGPT. It likes chatting. So give it that back and forth. Use that option. Keep asking follow-up questions. Keep asking for clarifications. Clarify what you want to say. See this as a dialogue, and you'll get much better results from ChatGPT. And that brings me to my secret sauce. So, before that, things you don't have to do. And these are things that sometimes I see in instructions, and I think they're just outdated. These are things that may have worked a year ago, but I don't think they do anymore, because OpenAI really improved on ChatGPT. So it used to be that some people would ask a general question first, and the thinking was, let's bring this information to the front of the model's memory. Okay, so if I wanted to ask about when did the Renaissance start, if it started in the 14th century, you would say first, tell me about the Renaissance in Italy, and then the model would have had some kind of, fresher memory of everything related to the topic. In my experience, that's no longer needed. If it ever was needed, you can just jump right into the specific question that you have, give the context, specific style, but don't be afraid. You don't need to, to refresh its memory or anything like that. You can just go ahead and ask. The second thing that you may see is people suggesting that you ask for a step-by-step. So it used to be that if you needed an answer to a question that required reasoning or logic, or maybe a mathematical kind of question, then ChatGPT would often jump to conclusions, and it would not always be the right conclusions. And so you needed to slow it down and say, hey, do this step by step and show me what steps you're taking. And again, in my experience, it's no longer needed. You can just ask your question, and ChatGPT will know to break it down into a step-by-step. There's no need anymore to slow it down. It knows when to do that, and it does it by itself. And the last thing that I found that you don't need is to create a persona. So some people say, yeah, tell ChatGPT, you are a marketing advisor, now help me create a marketing plan. You don't need to tell it to be a marketing advisor or a professional lawyer or whatever. It will reply, in my experience, in the same way whether you tell it to create a persona or not. So try these things. I have multiple times. Try and see if they work for you. For me, they are just not required anymore. And now for the secret sauce. Be nice. Be nice to the AI. I know it's kind of counterintuitive to some people. And it's not because, I'm afraid that it will take over the world someday, and, might not. I want to be on its good side. No, that's not it. The reason to be nice to the AI So two reasons. First of all, I just think generally it's good for my own mental health to be nice to everyone. I'm nice to cats on the street. I'm just nice, right? So it's good for me. But it does, in my experience, give me better results. And it makes sense if you think about it. This is a language model. It's been trained on a gazillion dialogues between people, okay? And when you want to get somebody to cooperate or collaborate with you more effectively, I think it usually pays off to be nice. And that's why I think I am getting better results with ChatGPT, because I will always say please and thank you and just be very friendly. You can throw in an emoji if you like. You can just try to establish a good positive atmosphere in your thread, and I really think it pays off in terms of the effectiveness of the model. It just gives me better results, and I hope it will do the same for you. And do let me know, okay? I think like the best way to become a very good AI prompter is to experiment. So try these things. Keep talking to ChatGPT. Keep trying new prompts. Keep trying new strategies, and share them with me. Maybe I'll learn something new. So if you know something that I don't, by all means, I'm always eager to learn more about how to communicate with ChatGPT. So leave me a comment and let me know how that went. I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for watching.